What's up, guys? Welcome to Jump Scare's Top 10 show, the show where we count down the top 10 of everything. On this episode, we're going to be counting down the top 10 horror movies of 2015. I'm your host, Jay, and with me, as always, I have Coxie.
Hello, guys.
And Beth.
Hi.
Okay, so getting straight into it, on our number 10 spot, we have Cooties, starring Elijah Wood. It's fair to say that this movie was showing a lot of promise through the trailer. We were all excited about it, but it just didn't deliver.
Yeah, it was a film I didn't mind until second time round when I realised that the film relied heavily on the comedy of Rainn Wilson, and it was just so repetitive. It got boring. It was annoying to the point where the second time round I actually turned it off.
I mean, we did give a little bit of leeway to this film that we are obviously from the UK, and maybe it was just a very Americanized humour and it just didn't land for us. Yes. We did give it the benefit of the doubt of that, but at the same time we can't leave it off our top 10 worst list.
No,
because it was just so disappointing for us.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't hate it. I thought the humour was all the Seth Rogen humour.
Mm-hmm.
This is awkward.
Yeah.
But I really didn't hate it. It was self-aware. It was called Cooties, for God's sake. I don't think you can say much more about it.
Okay, so coming in at the number 9 spot, we have Preservation, directed by Christopher Denham. I just thought this was a very watered down version of the British horror film Eden Lake, starring Jack O'Connell and Michael Fassbender. It's about a couple in the woods, and they become victim of a bunch of hunters who are looking to turn them all into trophies. Human on human hunting, but as I said, it was just a watered down Eden Lake to me. The scares didn't hit, the tension didn't hit, the acting, the script, it just didn't really do much for me.
It was a film that I forgot very quickly. I think I turned this off after like an hour and 5, maybe 10 minutes, because it was doing absolutely nothing for me. I was like, I felt insulted, because it did look like they stole a hell of a lot from Eden Lake, which is actually a good film.
Yeah.
So, I reckon the director of Eden Lake must have been really pissed off when he seen this film.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Okay, coming in at number 8, we have the movie Eat, directed by Jimmy Webber. Again, sort of followed this very new wave horror story of 80 minutes. It's the build up, it's the dialogue, it's the characters, and then the last 10 minutes is very gore heavy, much like Starry Eyes. And it is following a struggling actress once again in Los Angeles in her early 30s, and she can't get a role, and then long story short, starts to eat herself. Again, a trailer that promised so much and a movie that delivered so little.
Exactly my point. That's what the point I was going to make. I think Beth made the point to me when we first watched this. It was trying to be very art house, but it was nowhere near that. Very disappointing film. There's absolutely no point to it whatsoever, really, is there?
I think where a lot of these films fall flat is horror is trying to come into the kind of art house realm. Now, Babadook, that succeeded. It follows to an extent, but you need to really know what you're doing if you're going to do something art house.
You can't just make it dialogue heavy like a Tarantino film.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on to our number 7 film, the movie that we very nearly didn't get whatsoever is Eli Roth's The Green Inferno, which of course follows a group of student activists who travel to the Amazon rainforest and soon discover that they are about to be eaten by cannibals. I think it's fair to say that we're not Eli Roth fans, but because it was kept from us for so long, we wanted to see it. We were promised heavy on the gore aspect. It didn't give us that, And then it was a very slow moving film, and it didn't deliver on the characters either. So we just missed the mark on both points.
Yeah, I think my problem with this film was you don't need to relate to any of the characters in the film. It is what it is. It was supposed to be a modern day cannibal holocaust, and we didn't get that. I think Eli Roth, what Beth said the other day, but I think he took a few tips from Tarantino in this film, trying to build the characters, trying to get you to relate to them. We just wanted a gore-splattered Eli Roth horror film similar to Hostel, where we were going to get the tribe eating the activists, and we never got it. It was very disappointing after waiting so long for it.
I think with horror, if you're going to do character development, it's going to have to be a series to do that, which this isn't. So he has taken some tips off Tarantino in that perspective, but if you're going to do gore, I would have thought Eli Roth would have done that. He did.
He was the man, certainly. Yeah.
Okay, going into number 6, we have The Lazarus Effect, directed by David Gelb, starring Olivia Wilde, Mark Duplass, and American Horror Stories' Evan Peters. Follows a group of medical students who discover a way to bring the patients back to life. Me and Beth watched this together, and very non-event film.
Oh, it was awful, wasn't it? It was. Oh, we were angry all the way. I remember those villains in the beginning in the suits, and it was like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
This is going to be it now, but it was such a letdown.
Just
it was
lazy. Poor jump scares and a ridiculous ending. Possibly shackled by its PG-13 rating.
I'm not one of those people who tries to hide away from watching a horror film, but I think this is one of the very few films this year which I've read really so many negative reviews. I just didn't really want to waste an hour and a half of my time watching it just for the inevitable disappointment.
Yeah.
So I left this film alone. I might catch it when it gets aired on British TV at some point in the near future.
Okay, coming in halfway through our list at the number 5 spot, we have Sinister 2, starring James Ransone, Sharon Sossamon. Obviously a follow-on from the maybe not critically acclaimed Sinister, but a lot of horror fans did appreciate the movie. The trailer promised us a lot more and never really delivered.
Yeah, so the first one was certainly far more superior to the second one. You know, we were obviously we were more excited for this because we were going to get a more insight to into Bagul, which is obviously the attraction to this film, and we did. You know, it just didn't deliver, and we were all excited that they had a solid actress in Sharon Sossamon, and she turned out to be the worst thing about the film. The accent, the performance, everything about it was just terrible.
It was bizarre, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The script was awful, the characters were nonsensical.
It seemed like the film was rushed.
Yeah.
Really rushed.
Which is strange considering I think Sinister was 2012.
Yeah, so they had a good 3 years to do the script.
Dibs to trailer though, they had us fooled.
Exactly.
The trailer was brilliant, wasn't it? Amazing deaths in it.
I think it had everybody fooled, and I think the film's going to be forgotten very easily.
Okay, so moving on to the number 4 spot, we have Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension, directed by Gregory Plotkin. The ironic name, considering the movie had no plot. Me and Beth went to go and see this in America, as we had a couple of hours to kill before our flight back home. So we missed Crimson Peak and decided to go and see this. We had an idea that it was going to be a poor movie. I think this is the 7th Paranormal Activity. You know, it's bad when a series stops naming its sequels by number and instead puts another title on it to make you forget. And just everything that made the Paranormal Activity franchise interesting and scary was totally taken away, and we got to see the ghost or the demon before it made any scares.
It was the fact that they saw it on camera before the people actually saw this thing, and
still no one believed them.
No one believed them, but there were some good parts of it though, where they had Joe the girl, they were watching the old videotapes, and then the little girl could sense that they were watching them and was describing to people that was good. But yeah, it was really bad. That was probably the only interesting part in it.
Yeah. I actually have no interest in Paranormal Activity. You know, I gave up hope on the films after the part 3. You know, I thought that was a good way.
It's my favourite.
Yeah, but I thought they should have left it there. You know, they done all 3 angles. They done the sister 1, sister 2, and then the child stood when they were children. That should be a nice trilogy. But now they're just cashing in, and they're releasing films that are very poor. But people still go and see them, so that's why they keep releasing them.
I don't mind Paranormal Activity 4 Connect. I don't mind that one.
Okay, so coming in at number 3, we have The Human Centipede 3, Final Sequence, directed by Tom Six, starring Eric Roberts, Brie Olsen, and Tommy Tiny Lister. I think it's fair to say that Tom Six would probably masturbate to us talking about his film, so we don't want to stay on it too long. So it's just an awful movie, awful, insufferable performances. Just ridiculous.
Like the things Brie Olsen's probably done, this is probably the worst, most shameful production she's ever done. But not in the way Tom Six wants me to say.
There's just not really anything to say about it. Tom Six wants you to talk about it, but we're not going to. So, coming in at number 2.
Coming in at number 2, we have The Gallows, directed by Travis Clough and Chris Loafing. A found footage horror movie which takes place 20 years after a horrific accident during a small town school play. The initial teaser trailer was very interesting, very nice.
Yeah, certainly a film we held a lot of hope for, really, wasn't it? We were me and you personally were looking forward to this so much.
And then they started to compare their villain to Freddy and Jason,
and that's when it got out of hand. The film overall just didn't deliver. You know, there wasn't even. I think the only scene in the film was actually the teaser trailer, which we'd already seen. Nothing else in the film stands out. You know, nothing memorable.
Just remember, guys, what I was saying is hanging really scary. Is that scary?
We know, no. But
bonus points for it making Beth physically sick.
It actually maybe physically sick because of the motion in it. At least with these found footage now, I think they might have got onto the motion sickness thing. Things like creep and stuff like that. They have actual. It's meant for a videographer. Me and some other girl had to actually run out of the cinema because we were physically sick.
Okay, so coming in at our number 1 spot on the top 10 worst horror movies of 2015. You could argue that it's not a horror movie, but it did have horror roots, and because it personally offended us, we couldn't help but put it at the number 1 spot. Is Terminator Genesis. Here at Jumpscare, we do not have a problem with remakes and or sequels, but we do have a problem with reboots / sequels that go out of their way to shit on the original movies.
Absolutely insulting movie this was.
So directed by Alan Taylor and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jason Clarke and Emilia Clarke. I think it's fair to say that since everything about this movie was bad, when we found out the title of it, Genesis, was spelt wrong. When we saw the trailer, they showed too much. And then we had James Cameron telling us that it was a great movie. And then we had the movie itself.
What film did James Cameron watch? I'd love to ask him, you know, I'd love to sit down face to face with him and actually discuss the film with him.
I think he watched the film that he got paid a lot of money to say was good.
It made like T3 look like the Shawshank Redemption. It was so bad.
When you go back now, T3 is not a bad film compared to this.
It really isn't, but that's what
it is still awful. By the way.
It is still awful, but it's when a film does consist on time travel, they can actually mess up the original one, which makes it more offensive.
Here we would like to say that Terminator film shouldn't exist anymore because it was established that Judgment Day cannot be stopped.
Exactly.
So that's it, finished. But anyway, that was our top 10 worst horror movies of 2015. Did you agree with our list? Let us know in the comments. Should movies be taken out of our list? Should movies be put in? Let us know. And don't forget to like our videos and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time.
Bye guys.